welcome to another video. Welcome to another video. Welcome back. Welcome back. How are you guys doing? Before we even get into the topic, because you already know what's in the title, so if you clicked it, you know what you done clicked on. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, okay? Help me push out my videos. But further ado, I am going to be telling you as I read this lovely book, Say Amen Again. And girl, the tea is piping hot. Boy, the tea, it's tea, clock it. It's by Rashonda Tate Billingsley. It's a really great book, full of mess. Okay, so I'm basically going to be telling you chapter 1 through 5 because that's how far I am, and I'll probably post a video about the book, telling what's going on in the book once a week, just depending how well this video even does. But I know like this is juicy, so if I'm making this one, I'm gonna have to make a second one. It'll find the right people. Okay, you like a little drama, this is drama. Okay, but let's get straight into this video. I'm not even gonna do, if I do a cut, I'll cut it in my editing, but let's go ahead and get straight into this. Okay, so we're going to start chapter 1. This spans out, her name is Rachel and her husband name is Lester. Okay, so Rachel, if the book starts, Rachel is in the hospital bed about to give birth, and she's screaming, she's having a really hard time, and Lester is there trying to comfort her, but she kept saying like, no, you're the reason why this is even happening. Mind you, Rachel already have 2 kids. She had one kid at 15 and then another at 17. So after 11 years of her not having children, it was quite difficult. So she was having a really hard time. So she's pushing Lester away. She's like, no, move, whatever. And basically Lester disappears, and she still hear his voice, but he's gone. Like she's looking for her man, he's not around her. She looks over, and Lester is basically talking to this woman, coaching her. She's also pregnant. He's coaching her, and the difference is she isn't pushing Lester away. Now there is great significance of her pushing him away and her not. Just listen. But the other woman is also giving birth, and he's like over there, she's not pushing him away. She's happy he's there, you feel me? And she was just like, I can't believe this, like I can't believe this. And then she wakes up. She wakes up in this king-size bed, this beautiful bed, and basically Lester is holding her, and she's like, she jumps up, and he's like, are you okay? Like, did you have another bad dream? Did you have a dream? And then he stopped, and she was like, yeah, like, and pushed him off of her or whatever. And so basically she was saying like, he knows to never like utter her name. And so it goes into detail of like how her husband Lester basically cheated on her with a woman in the church, because he's a preacher. Rachel's the first lady, so this was a church goer. Okay, so the lady he cheated on her with was Mary, and Mary got pregnant. And how she found out that Mary got pregnant was Lester, holding his service or whatever, and he wanted to make an announcement like, hey, I feel like I gotta sneeze. Me and my wife, we are having our child. We are, we're having our first child together and stuff like that. And so Mary let's span back, let's go to Mary real quick, because the whole reasoning of her doing this was because she kept trying to communicate with Lester after, you know, they did the do or whatever, after he committed infidelity. She kept trying to get into contact with him, and he was like, no, like, you gotta stay away from me, you know, I you know what's going on, like, I can't be talking to you like that. I guess he regretted it and wanted nothing to do with Mary anymore. So when she heard this, because she actually had plans on telling Lester, like, hey, I'm pregnant. So when Lester came up there and he was like, yeah, me and Rachel are having a baby, she stood up in front of the whole entire congregation, and yeah, she spilled the beans. She was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. I think she's like maybe 3 months pregnant. They're not too far along from each other, like. So she's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. Everybody in the church was like, and of course you should also place blame on the man as well, but a lot of the people in the church disliked her after that. Maybe it was how she went about it. So basically then she ended up leaving the church for some time or whatever. But it spans back to after Rachel gets done telling us, and she's trying to get out of the bed to go make some tea or whatever. He's like, no, like, just let me do it, I'll handle it. And she's like, no, like, get off of me, get off of me now, okay? So he goes in the kitchen with her. He's trying to talk to her, and I guess, you know, of course, like, at this point time has passed, and Rachel had basically said, like, she had been having dreams like this. She ruined her marriage, and it's like, now you're in my dreams too, boo. Now you're in my dreams, like, you know. So basically she goes and she starts talking, like, she starts telling us, like, you know, she has been having a really hard pregnancy, and her blood pressure was always up, like, she was having a really hard pregnancy. But here's the thing, she decided to stay with Lester because she said, like, she puts blame on herself of why even Lester would even go out to look for another woman, like, you know, and she, you know, she takes part of the blame for that, and we're going to get into that because, okay, so it spans out. They go to church, and this is after Mary haven't been there for a good minute. He's preaching, he's in front of the congregation, and he's like, you know, y'all come up here, you guys, and if you need prayer, don't be afraid. If God has called you up here to come and get prayer for me, come on up, like, come on up. And I'm guessing he did not see Mary in the congregation that day, because like I said, she had been gone for a good little minute. So she ends up standing up, but it spans out to Mary, like, her thoughts, and she's like, yeah, like, I'm coming for what's mine, like, it's about time he take care of this baby. I finally came up with a plan. And so she goes up there, she's walking, she's smiling. Everybody in the congregation is looking at her like, girl, ugh, like, what are you doing here? Like, no one wants you here. And so she goes up there, she looks at him, and she's smiling, like, he's stern with her. He was like, hello, Sister Mary, or whatever, and she's like, hi, you know, Pastor Lester, whatever. And she grabs the mic from him, and mind you, Rachel is the first lady, so she's up there, and Rachel from the side is literally fuming. She's fuming hot, okay? Sister is mad. Who wouldn't be? Okay, she's a lot better than me. But Mary grabs the mic and she's like, yes, I just want to come up here and to talk to you guys about a new organization that I want to start within the church. I want to start a true, like, a females group where I know we already have a group for troubled teens and stuff, but I want to create something that we can conjoin adults, women, you know, to come together. And she knew to bring up the group that that she brung up that they already had, because that's Rachel's group. Rachel came up with that group, and Rachel takes a prize possession in this group. So everything that she's doing, she's trying to get a rise out of Rachel. She wanted Rachel to come up there, and yeah, like she needed that, I guess, but she didn't want to. She was like, because she was saying like, I just want to see how crazy it would be for 2 pregnant women to be rolling around in the church. Okay, but she was like, you know, she was bringing God into it, and she was like saying, you know, no one's perfect, and you know, who are we to judge, and all these things. And she was like, you know, because I know what it feels to be hated, basically. And everyone's like, like everybody's like, why is she here, like, you know. And she smiles. He snatches the mic away. She didn't look upset because she had already seen that Rachel was getting upset. Okay, so that's what she wanted. She was like, you know, I'm done for today. I did what I came here to do. I got a rise out of her, but of course this is, you know, it's not over. So they get home. They get home from church. Rachel is fuming, rightfully so. She's throwing pots and pans. She literally threw a pot. It missed him slightly, and it went into the wall, and it made a really huge dent or whatever. And she picks up another pot, and she's throwing it at him, and she's swinging over around, and he's like, calm down, like please just calm down for me. Like she was like, how can I be calm, and she's in my church. She was like, you need to get rid of her, you need to handle her, or I will. And he's like, you know, basically, I can't get her out the church. If I send her away, then I would be forced to send other people away as well. And I'm signing off like, get her out the church, get her gone, for I handle you. Like, you know, because it's like, Lester, you see what this woman is trying to do. Okay, so she's like, really, like, so okay, you're going to make me have to handle it. And he was like, please calm down, you know, your blood pressure is going to get high, I don't want you to get sick, blah blah blah. I mean, so she's fuming. She ends up grabbing her keys. She ends up walking out the door, getting in her car. She calls her best friend, and by this time her best friend didn't go to church that day, but like, of course, church people are nosy, church people talk, church people gossip, everything that they're not supposed to do. So she ends up calling her best friend. At this point, her best friend is already knowing what's going on. So her best friend is like, you know, hello. And she's like, yeah, I'm on the way right now. And her best friend's like, okay, you know, I'll be here, you know. So she gets there, she's driving, whatever. She gets to her best friend door. Her best friend greets her with a cup of tea, and she was like, she pushed the tea and like just kind of shoved past, and she's like, I need something stronger than that. Like, I need a shot or something, like. And she's like, girl, you know I'm not gonna give you that, you know I'm not giving you no shot. And so basically they sit down, they're talking, and she's like, I cannot deal with this. I cannot deal with this woman, like, you know, she's invading my dreams, my relationship, like she's just ruining everything for me. And her best friend goes out like, yeah, like, you have every right to be angry. And she's like, yeah, like, I'm going to kill her. And her best friend's like, no, you know, you just need to pray harder. And like, because, you know, she was like, I did. And she was like, God is basically telling me to kill her. And her best friend starts laughing like, no, friend, that wasn't God, okay, that was the devil. And she was like, oh, well, the devil's voice is louder than God's right now. And so they start getting into the conversation of Rachel, of why this even happened. And she was like, you know, her best friend's like, you know, of course, like, you have to understand, like, he only did this because of what you were doing. So basically, Rachel, when her and Lester first got together, first got married or whatever, she was still hooked on her ex-boyfriend, her first love. His name is Bobby. He actually ended up marrying another woman. She was like, I guess they weren't having an affair, but she was going out her way to like wait on this man to confess his love and do all these things. And her best friend was like, you literally almost ruined their wedding. You literally almost ruined their wedding. And so she was like, okay, chill. So Bobby and Rachel has their first child together. They got married. I'm thinking this is Rachel's second marriage. So they ended up having their 2 kids together, and you know, they ended up not working out. She cheated on Bobby. But so, you know, of course Bobby wasn't going for any of that. He went to the military. He ended up marrying another woman. She was still trying to get him back as she was actively married to someone else. She treated Lester pretty bad, and that's why in the beginning, when I was saying like keep in mind of like the significance and the symbols of they both being in the hospital bed, and she's pushing him away, but she's not, basically. So, but you know, back to their conversation, she's like, but that still doesn't give him a right to cheat. I did not cheat. Yes, I was obsessed with my ex-boyfriend, but I didn't cheat. And she was like, you know, okay, yeah, I get it, but still, like, you just wait it out, wait till you guys can get a DNA test and stuff like that. And she's like, okay, whatever. She's still angry. So, you know, they talk or whatever, they have their time. So it stands to this man named Jonathan and his son named Chase. This is Rachel's brother, and this is the next location that she will be going, but it pans out before she even reaches the door. It's him and his son playing, and they're talking, and he's like, oh dad, Chase is like, dad, when are you going to get remarried? I want you to get remarried. Mom have already gotten married again. Like, why haven't you? You need to get the ball rolling. I want a stepmom that's hot. My mom has a stepfather, like a husband, so he has a stepfather, but his stepfather isn't really fond of him, but he keeps the peace, you know, because he's with his mom, you know. But he's like, yeah, like, and mom said that I could have many girlfriends as I want, okay, like, okay. And he's like, why would she be even entertaining that? Because Chase is 8 years old, so he's like thrown off. But then that's where it starts. He starts talking about him and his ex-wife relationship. So basically, Jonathan got caught cheating on his wife with a man, and so she caught them they were on the phone one day, and I'm guessing it was a house phone, so she ends up listening in on the phone call, and that's how she ends up finding out. And she, of course, she was filming, so she took her son, and she did not let him see his son for a good maybe 2 years. And he was trying to be understanding of it, like, you know, he was trying to, you know, be understanding, like, okay, she did find out I'm not even cheating on her, but I'm cheating on her with a man, like. So he was talking about how, like, he wanted to basically stop liking men. He just wanted to be the man that his family always wanted him to be, blah blah blah. But his mistress wouldn't let him go and stuff. So that's initially how they ended up getting caught or whatever. And after 2 years, he's like, I want to see my son. Where's my son? Where's my son? Okay, so he ends up taking her to court for split custody or whatever. And then he was talking about like how it was very messy in the beginning, but they ended up coming to a middle ground at the end. And basically he was like, he promised her, like, I just won't tell him anything about my lifestyle until he's old enough to even fathom what that is. And he was talking about, he started saying, like, you know, I feel like this is why she she's pushing women on, or little girls on Chase, because his dad, you know, Jonathan, is gay. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but still, you know. So because she was just telling him, like, I don't want my son, I don't want that to rub off on him. So they came to agreement, like, hey, I'm just not going to talk about it, it's not going to be a problem, you know. So they moved back, because this is all set in Houston. They moved to Milwaukee or whatever to get away from him, you know. So they ended up moving back to Houston. And he said the only thing that he really had a problem with, which I don't know why, because it's like, but he was like, he had to drive 45 minutes out to get to his son. Like, they lived on the northern part of Houston, very suburban area. Okay, cool. So it spans out of that. They're just laughing, they're talking and whatever. And Chase asked the question again. He's like, yeah, like, when are you gonna get remarried? And then there's a knock on the door. And the knock on the door is Rachel comes in. He's like, hey sis, how you doing, and stuff like that. And you know, they're talking or whatever. She's like, he was like, do you want something to drink? And Rach is like, yeah, a margarita, give me a margarita, please, I want a margarita. And he's like, now, you know, I can't give you a margarita, you know, you can't have that. And she's like, why isn't anybody taking my request? Like, I need me a drink or whatever. And so yeah, they're talking about their dad, saying like, have you went to go see dad? And Jonathan's like, no. And she's basically telling him like, okay, yeah, because our auntie's over there. And a little background about their auntie is like, she's super religious. She carries her holy oil in her purse. She's holier than thou. She referred to her as Jesus' assistant. Like she thought she was Jesus' assistant or something. And we all know how that could be. So yeah, they're talking about that. And basically their father has prostate cancer, you know, so they try to go see him as much as they can, but lately they really haven't went, because aunt is there and don't nobody want to deal with that. Jonathan don't want to deal with that, on the case of she's going to come over here and she's going to try to torment me about my lifestyle, about my sexuality or whatever. So yeah, that's what we're gonna leave this off at. So this is just the beginning. The story is getting really juicy, really hot. So we're going to see what Mary is on next, because she said it herself, she's trying to get in Lester's draws again. She wants to be with Lester. She wants Lester to be her man. She wants to be the new first lady. Okay, but the way Rachel is, I don't think, I hope Lester don't fall into that. I really pray Lester don't fall into that. But we're gonna stop there. And we will be back next week. I will be telling you more. I know this was kind of brief or whatever. It could have ended a little boring, but I had to give my introductory to this book. It's really great, really great read. It's really funny. I was in that library like this. So I will see you guys on the next video. I love you guys so much. You guys are abundantly beautiful. You guys deserve the world. And yeah, I love you guys so much. And unfortunately, I don't know where I want to film, so of course I've been kind of moving around or whatever. But yeah, like, I don't know. But I will see you guys later. I love you so much. You go ahead and give me a like and give me a subscribe to help push my video out. And I will see you next time.